de Brabandere Petrus Dubbel.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Band, Bikes and Bollocks. This is a review for the Petrus Dubbel. Now this is from the Brewery de Brabandere, which is a Flemish brewery. They are based in West Flanders, or West-Vlaam if you want to use the Flemish term for it. And I've reviewed a few of their beers on the channel before. Recently put up the Rude Bruin that they do. Rude Bruin, sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Rude Bruin beer that they do, and that's the red brown beer. That is a West Flanders or a Flanders red ale, distinct by its sour notes, and I really liked it. I thought it was a great beer. They also do the Kvaramont, I think that's how it's pronounced, Kvaramont or something beer, which was produced for the Tour de France. Cycling is huge in Belgium. Personally, I don't fucking get it. Getting on two wheels, me, unless it's got a fucking big engine in the middle of it, I am not interested. Seriously though, I know some of you may ride bikes and all that, I mean push bikes and stuff, but they're not for me. I do like my motorbikes, yes, that's true, but the only reason, I don't feel safe on a push bike. I think where you've got a little bit of speed on a motorcycle, that can get you out of a few hairy situations. It can also land you in a few dangerous situations, but I just think that, especially on my Harleys, the noise of the engine is really, really loud. So you do, if you're in a car and you're getting up close, you'll definitely hear it. Now, unless you're completely fucking oblivious, you'll know there's a motorcycle behind you. And that's what I like, especially when I'm filtering through the traffic and all that, because people will just turn their fucking cars around into your path. And yeah, I've had to brake a few times, and thank fuck I've got ABS on one of my bikes, because that has saved me a couple of times. But there you go, I digress. This is the Petrus Dubbel. Now I got this from Lidl. I was mooching there about it today. They have got some fucking shocking beers in there. They had one, and I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was in a clear bottle, and it was more or less golden, and I just thought, I'm not reviewing it, because it's going to make me fucking insane. And a couple of things happened this week. I joined up on the Beer Advocate website. They've got a forum on there, and I got into I wouldn't say a heated discussion, but they were discussing the history, or not so much the history, the merits of IPA. And of course it's an American forum, and I don't know what it is with the Americans, and I do apologise to any American viewers who are watching this at the moment, but they do see an attack on something that well, not an attack, but a criticism of something that they've invented. So I'll give you an example. Gibson Guitars, I've mentioned this a few times, but Gibson Guitars, IPAs, if you criticise them, it's like it's an attack on their country. And I don't really get that, to be honest. And on this particular discussion, I was talking about IPA and how it's completely lost its way and all this, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, they didn't like it at all. And yeah, I stood my ground. I gave them the history of IPA. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, I learned a few things as well. So I'm not saying it's a bad website, but there's a lot of sections on there that look really interesting. I mean, it's huge, it's massive. So I really need to check that out a little bit more. But I joined up on it yesterday just to see what the hell's going on there. And so far it looks pretty good. So if you're on there, you can hit me up on there and see what I'm posting. But there you go, I'm digressing. So yeah, I was in Lidl's and I saw this. They also had the other Brabandere stuff, which is I think it's the Pirat beer, the Golden Draak, and there was another one as well, which I've reviewed both the Golden Draak on this channel, and I've reviewed the Pirate beer, or La Pirates, I think it's called. And I just thought there's not much point in buying that, because there's only one beer that I haven't reviewed that was in that sort of package, that Belgian beer package. 11 quid for 6 beers. Not bad, under two quid a bottle. They are 330ml bottles, but they're quality beers. Especially that Golden Draak, I really like that. That was a good one. They had a quadruple and a triple, and both were very dark coloured. And no, I lie. The quadruple was light coloured, and the triple was dark coloured. So make of that what you will. Anyway, this is a Belgian double. If you're not sure what Belgian doubles are, well, they're usually dark. They are brewed in the style of an Abbey beer. That's what I've been told. But the difference between blonde and triple, I've had so many people try and explain it to me. Some have said it's all to do with the ABV, and then I've sort of countered that with, well, I've seen blondes that have come in at 10%. Some have said it's something to do with the malt bill that's on there. Some say that the amount of malt that's used in it determines whether it's a blonde or whether it's a triple. Blondes, of course, are or can be superseded by the term single as well. But doubles, they usually, I'm trying to think, I don't think I've seen a light coloured double before. They've always been dark, a dark brown beer, much in the style of an Abbey beer. Obviously, Abbey beer is a bit of a contradiction. It's taken from beer that used to be brewed in Abbeys, but most of the Abbey beers, unless it's a Trappist beer, has never seen the inside of a monastery. Yes, they may have tenuous links to them, and there may be the odd monastery that isn't a Trappist monastery that brews beer in Belgium, but there's very few and far between. There's a few in Germany, but the Trappist brewers, in my opinion, do the best doubles. But there are some other good doubles as well. And I've not tasted this before, but if it's anything to go by, the Rude Brewing that they do was really nice. So I'm hoping that's going to be a good one. A little bit about the brewery. They are from West Flanders, as I say, and they sponsor a race in I think it's the Tour de France or some kind of cycle race. Interesting history. During World War One, the Germans requisitioned all their copper kettles for the war effort. They would probably be used for shell casings or making up the alloys for shell casing, I should say, and bullet casings, etc. During World War II, at the outbreak of World War II, the owner dismantled the delivery cart, completely dismantled it. Wise move, because he knew that Germans were probably going to commandeer that. And when the war was over, he assembled it all back up again, and he was ready to go. So yeah, quite a good bit of foresight there. And as far as I know, they're still family owned, which is a real good thing as well. But as I say, I've tried some stuff from them before, and the two that I've tried have been quite nice. So I'm hoping this one isn't going to let it down. So let's get it open and let's see what's going on. Right, before we do, let's have a look at the beer. This is a 330ml bottle. It is 7%. Has it got it in English? No, it hasn't. Not on the... Oh, I can't even fucking read that. That's just way too small. Is it everyone's printing their labels too small, or is my eyesight up the creek? I think it's the latter. Now, luckily, I bought 4 of these. I can't remember the price. It was around 5 or 6 quid, so it's reasonable value, depending on what it's like, of course. But I'm just looking at the gumph on this one. Petrus Dubbel is a dark brown, full-bodied beer, perfect after a hard working day. The bitterness derives from the 6 different malts. Wow, 6 malts. Through the well-balanced taste. The daily grind flows away in no time. Wow, well, that's what they're selling it as, a beer to drink after work. I know I've finished work. The sun is over the yard arm, so let's get this open. Right, not had this before, so this is going to be a first for me. I've got 3 others in the fridge. If it's dog shit, they'll all be going down ye oldie sink. If they're nice, I may polish a lot of them off. Though. Fucking hell, 7% though. Got to be careful of that. Right, they suggest serving this in a glass like this. Now, this glass looks reasonably, I don't know, it's got some kind of, I don't know whether it's, oh yeah, that is dust, you fucking horrible Dirty bastard.
You filthy little devil.
This glass is not good. It's been up here for a while. I haven't used it in a while. And it looks to have... Oh no, it's not too bad. Maybe not. Now they suggest drinking this quite fresh, because a lot of the fermentation is actually done in the brewery. I think they said they do it for 24 months. So there you go. I can smell that from here, and it's lovely. Very fruity. Oh, that is lovely. That is really nice. Real strong fruit. Strong dark fruit. That's the first thing that hits me. And then there's a real strong caramel on that. Caramel and fruit. Very sweet as well. Oh, it smells lovely, and it smells like a typical Belgian double, which I like. Out of all the styles, doubles, triples and singles and quadruples, I think doubles, they're nice. I like my quadruples though, but you've got to be fucking careful with the quadruples. You're looking at 10% plus with that. You cannot fuck about with them beers. If you drink them like session beers, you will end up in a hell of a state. This smells lovely. There's real strong caramel on there, possibly even a little bit of toffee, but the fruit on this is absolutely huge. I mean, really big. And again, that's coming from the malts, and I'd wager that there's some candy sugar in that as well, which is giving it a nice sweetness to it as well. But this is really good. It smells really good. I'd be surprised if this was a bad one. The head's dissipated. I'm not too fussed about that. At 7%, your head's not going to last long. So there you go. So before it completely disappears, let's get it down the hatch. Bottoms up. And as is always the case with these beers, the first thing that hits you, especially if it's your first beer of the day. But oh, hang on, what's that on the finish? Roasted malt. Right, from the first mouthful, just big ethanol, and on the finish, what appeared to be like roasted malt, some slight roasted malt bitterness. I'll dig in again. That massive fruit on the aroma, it doesn't really translate to what I've got on the palate at the moment. Now, this has come out of the fridge, and it's very warm in this room, and they're saying serve it at 6 or 7 degrees. But the aromas are massive, I have to say. And if I'm not mistaken, there is a very, very subtle, and I don't mean subtle, sour ester to this, which makes me wonder, is there some kind of wild fermentation that went on during the maturing process? But it smells absolutely fucking lovely, I have to say. Let me try the palate again. That's really weird. It's a bit of a conundrum, because the aromas, as I say, the aromas are huge, but on the palate there is definitely ethanol. I can definitely taste that. There is a sweetness. Not much of that fruit though. Still nice. Still nice though. Not unpleasant. There's no nasties in that. But where's the fruit gone? Don't get me wrong, it is there. There is a little bit of fruit there. But if the aromas were anything to go by, this was just going to be huge. But it's a slight disappointment, in all honesty. Now don't get me wrong, when I say it's a slight disappointment, that's not a bad beer. But the aromas really talked a good fight. The taste, It's turned out to be a bit of a paper tiger, to be honest. Still a bit of that ethanol on there, but where is the fruit? The curious case of the missing fruit. Slight roasted malt finish gives it a bit of a bitter edge to it. But this is, I don't know, it's sort of, I wouldn't say it's let me down, but I really had high hopes for this. When I smelt the aroma, I thought, wow, this is huge. But the flavours aren't. Now, I haven't reviewed a Belgian beer in a while. So I can't remember the last time I did a double. I reviewed a double, I should say. Been doing triples and blondes and all that, but doubles, no, not for a long time. Still nice. Still a seam of ethanol on that. Reasonably sweet. Caramel malt. The barest suggestion of fruit. And the finish is that nice bitter roasted malt. But again, that's subtle. Still nice though. I mean, I'm being harsh. It sounds like I'm being harsh on it. This is a nice beer. It is. It's just that when I opened that up first, the huge, and I do mean huge, I had the glass here and I could smell the fruit really strong from there, and I just thought, wow, this is going to be an amazing beer, bursting with flavour, but it just hasn't quite lived up to that. Now, the doubles that I would compare it to that I think are in the same vein are obviously the St Bernardus one. That's a very well-known Belgian beer. That's great. I've reviewed that on the channel. Obviously, you when you get into the realms of the Trappist doubles, then you're sort of talking a different level. In my opinion, I just think the flavours are just a little bit more up there. I mean, if you've ever tried the Vesmal double, that is amazing stuff. And the Orvel double as well, that's a great beer. But this, I think it's just fallen short of them. Not bad, I will say, not bad, but just not what I was expecting, unfortunately. And it is warming up a little bit, I will say that. And there is a little touch more fruit on there. But yeah, it's mostly ethanol. A little bit of sweetness from the candy sugar. A little bit of caramel malt on there. And a roasted malt finish. This is all about the malt. If you're looking for hops or anything like that, forget about it. Very much, I've always likened these to English barley wines. They're very, very similar. Now, obviously, the English brewers use invert sugar, which is cane sugar, fermentable cane sugar, I should say, and the Belgians use candy sugar, which is a sugar beet, which again is fermentable. Whether that's different or not, the end result is sweetness. And when I say I compare it to the barley wines, I mean this is very in keeping with the barley wine style. It's very malt forward. It's got high ABV, 7%, and it's got that ethanol flavour to it, which a lot of the English barley wines have. It's got the sweetness to it as well, and it's got the sort of roasted malt finish. So you could say in a blindfold test, if you tried to convince someone this was an English barley wine, I probably would be swayed. But yeah, there you go. But this is nice, and I'm drinking far too fucking much of it, far too fucking quickly. But it's okay. It's just okay. And I think I was a little bit optimistic. Well, not optimistic. I was a little bit, what's the word? Lulled into a false sense of security with the huge fruit that immediately hit me when I opened it. That was really nice. I mean, it was amazing. I thought, wow, I'm in for a treat here. And it's just not lived up to that. But don't get me wrong, it is still good. And if a beer, when you first open it, it comes out with really nice aromas like that, that is not a bad thing. It's when you open it and it smells like a bag lady's period. That's when you want to start worrying. So, again, it sounds like I'm being harsh, but I'm not. That isn't bad. So what is the verdict on Petrus Dubbel? Well, yeah, as I say, when I first opened it, I thought this was going to be an absolutely amazing beer, fucking storming with flavour and very much in the style of the Trappist doubles that you can get. But compared to them, and compared to the aroma, well, not even compared to them, I'll take that back, not even compared to the Trappist doubles, just comparing it to the aromas that first came out. Now, I do know that you do get a bigger sort of release of aroma when you open a beer. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. This was, I wouldn't say, well, I suppose it was actually. Maybe it's because I haven't reviewed a Belgian double in a while. But for me, that was exceptional. The amount of flavour that was coming out, held from a distance, was exceptional. I haven't had aromas like that for quite a while, I have to say. And I thought I was going to be, you know, this was just going to be an explosion of flavour, but it's got flavour on it, don't get me wrong. It's not lacking in flavour. What it's lacking in is the fruit that was on the aroma. There's a sort of a seam of ethanol on there, which is okay if you like that. I like that ethanol flavour that goes through a lot of Belgian doubles and triples, and it's strong blondes as well. The malts that are in there, yeah, I can get the caramel malt and I can get the roasted malt on the finish, which is really nice. It's got some element of fruit to it, but just not as big as the aromas, unfortunately, but it's still good. I like that, and considering you can buy that in Lidl, if you're in the UK, you can buy that in Lidl for a reasonable price. They had some other shit in Lidl, Christ almighty, I've just mentioned the others, but they had Drygate. Somebody had, there was a big case of Drygate, and somebody had taken out one of the Drygate beers. I can't remember what it was, but I just thought, you poor bastard. They are probably one of the worst craft brewers in this country. I think they're from Scotland, from Edinburgh, I think. Fucking dog shit beer, they brew. How the fuck they're still in business, I do not know. But they had the usual craft fare. Was it Yeasty Boys? They had some of that. There was some Tiny Rebel stuff. Barry Island. I don't know, was that brewed in conjunction with the little Welsh fella? I don't know. Maybe not. He's from Barry Island, isn't he? But I'm not interested in him, unfortunately. So if you're looking at this and you're looking to see some craft beer reviews, then I wouldn't. I'll tell you, I will make an exception. If I ever go down to Lidl's and any of these craft brewers are brewing a bitter, or maybe even a lager as well, I think I will review them. I just don't want to review them IPAs or pale ales. I mean, there was about 8 or 9 different pale ales and IPAs and milkshake. They had that fucking, that abomination, that Black Sheep milkshake IPA. Fuck off right now. What the fuck has that got to do with being an IPA? Anyway, I'm going down a dark alley. This stuff, nice. A little bit disappointing for me, but still nice. So for that, I'm going to give it a 7.5. And I'll definitely recommend it if you're in Lidl's. They've got the boxed Belgian beers there with the Golden Draak. Remember, it's Lidl's, and it's not Aldi I'm talking about. They've got the 2 Golden Draaks in there, which are both good. They've got the Pirat beer, which I've reviewed on the channel. Can't remember them, so probably haven't been that great. And there was 2 other beers in there from a Belgian brewer who I can't remember whether I've reviewed. I may have reviewed on the channel. But if you've been down to Lidl, you know what I'm talking about. I'll put it up here. So there you go. For me, 7.5 out of 10. If you're in Lidl's and you want something half decent, either go for this or go for the Belgian box set. You won't go wrong either way. And happy days. And remember, beer is working class champagne.